1 year is an estimate I'm sure you've heard if you checked out any other places before watching this video. Or maybe 3 months. If you please buy my program, please, please, please. I thought Japan would only tax me 5%, but they're taxing me 20% plus health insurance. I can't pay my rent, please. Yo. What if I told you it would take 7 years, 2 months, and 5 days? What if I told you it would take longer? What if I told you it'd be shorter? What if I told you you're asking the wrong question? Well, that's thanks to a meaningless word called fluency. What does fluency mean? What is fluent? Is it the ability to use language without looking up words? If it is, then I'm not fluent in English because I still look up words sometimes. How about having an everyday conversation with a native speaker without any confusion? Yeah, that sounds better, but what if I want to talk about something that's not everyday, like maybe I saw some news article about some cool thing in space or something? If I can have a more normal conversation, but not an advanced conversation, am I fluent? On top of that, miscommunications and confusion happens among native speakers like all the time. All right, well, if I can make a native speaker understand me, even if I'm making grammatical mistakes or maybe using like unnatural words, am I fluent? What if I just want to like play video games and watch anime in Japanese? I don't care about talking to people. If I can do that, am I fluent? Yes? No? In the end, fluency means something different to everyone. And that's why programs that say, oh, get fluent in 3 months, get fluent in 1 year, they're not lying, but they might not be fully honest either. And the same goes with programs that, perhaps more realistically though, say like 4 years or 7 years. None of these estimates can be accurate because fluency doesn't mean anything. Okay, cool. So how long can this journey take? Well, it depends on your goals and how happy you are in your progress in those goals. If you have like a more simple goal, like just vibing with friends and who cares how to read, that's a topic for another video. It might not take so long. If you're trying to get a job in Japan or like be a Japanese university professor, I could see that taking a lot longer. And honestly, while fluency might be a little weird to define and like really put, oh, here's your fluent, there are definitely milestones along the way. Like, oh, now I can have an everyday conversation. Oh, now I can go to the bank in Japanese. Oh, now I can read this without looking up words much and blah, 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 blah. So all of these different goals will take different amounts of time depending on what they are and how much you study per day and what extra stuff you do besides your core studies. With that said, here's kind of a loose timeline of my own study journey. At about a year and a half in, I found my first language partner, and writing a text message to her about 3-4 sentences took 30 minutes. At 2.5 years in, I passed the JLPT N2. I could read relatively well. Longer paragraphs were kind of tough because I was so used to video game dialogue boxes and everything's pretty contained in itself. And my listening comprehension skills were sketchy at best. At just under 4 years, I passed N1. My speaking skills were still kind of sketchy, and so were my listening skills. But I could play video games without any problems and make myself pretty much understood in almost any situation, even though it wasn't pretty sometimes. Also, I would still struggle hearing natural Japanese a lot here. Now, I'm at 7 years, 2 months, and 5 days. I have no real problems living everyday life. I can even do like official things like setting up a bank account or going to the government offices for insurance or taxes or whatever I need to do. My listening is so much better. My speaking is a lot better too. And I really have no trouble except when trying to express myself in very specific situations. That's where it starts to fall apart sometimes. For example, if I'm speaking to my Japanese fiance about certain deeper conversations that you have in relationships, it's not so pretty sometimes, but I can usually get her to understand, though I might need to try a few times. Also, I can usually understand anything I hear when hanging out with her family, but if we go to like a, say, yakiniku restaurant and we're all super separated and the fans are going, there's chatter in the background, sometimes I don't get it. Honestly, it's such a big topic that I feel like there's definitely a part 2 to this video of my study journey alone, so link in the description when that is out. So you might tell me I'm fluent based on what I just told you, and yeah, maybe you're right. A lot of people tell me that here when they first hear me speak. But if I had to stick a definition on fluency, I feel like for me personally, it's probably the ability to express myself in Japanese as well as I can in English. On that definition, I don't think I'll ever be fluent. But I'm okay with that. I like having a goal that I can never reach, you know? It gives me something to really push myself towards every day. It really lets me look forward to getting better at Japanese every time I either open up Native Shark or start speaking with my fiance or other friends. It's really motivating to me. But again, that said, everyone I speak to here has already told me that I'm fluent. So here's what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't matter. Just chill and enjoy the ride. When I was a beginner, I loved playing Fire Emblem so much. It's one of my favorite games to begin with. But just going through and like looking at all the language, it was so difficult. So I always was looking up words and learning new words along the way, and it took a really long time. And now I can just play Fire Emblem without looking up any words. The new Fire Emblem comes out and I just play it and I barely look up any words. So it was fun in both cases, but for slightly different reasons. And I had a lot of fun speaking to my friends when I was a beginner, and I would make all these silly mistakes and I'd sound like a video game character. I'd say some silly word that no one really says and I wouldn't realize it, and everyone would laugh and it's fun. And now I sound like a video game character to get laughs because I've just been studying so long. I know the differences. Native Shark has also helped me a lot with that. Link in the description if you want to sign up. So really what I'm trying to tell you is that learning a language changed my life. And I had fun all along the way when I was just learning how to say thank you versus now I can just live my life. And yeah, it was a bit of a journey to get here, but I think the most important thing is just have fun along the way, right? No matter where you are in your journey, just have fun. Like I live in a different country from where I was born. I have a wider perspective on so many things that I never would have been able to experience. Like I can talk to people from a different culture I would never have been able to talk to. I got a fiance now who doesn't really speak English much, and I get something fun to learn every day. So I guess really what I want to say here the most is that you're always going to have room to grow. And I know I do in my own ability, and many other things other than just Japanese too. I have room to grow, but let it be a fun experience and enjoy the ride.